official people out there. It's the official podcast, episode 390. I'm Jackson. We got Andrew here. Kai is also here. Charlie, I believe, is here. We've got a podcast to put on for you today. Lots of, I'm not going to say exciting news because there's a lot of actually depressing things that have happened in the world since last week. We're probably not going to touch on the fact that the Iran president has crashed in a helicopter disaster. That's probably not something that
to you.
No, that's probably good. But it's like
very morning.
It's probably probably not something we should talk about. But there's other things that are more so in the news. Like, did you guys hear that a lot of evidence came out about P. Diddy, like actual video evidence corroborating what has been accused
we can go
against him?
from beyond the word evidence and say the word proof by this point, like it was.
Wait, what's the difference? What is the difference?
I'm just making. I'm just making a joke that like any word that you can throw at this evidence to describe it is what it is, because it is explicitly a video of him beating the shit out of somebody.
We never talked about it on the this podcast, right? We did a whole episode on a Reddit thread about the P. Diddy situation, but did we ever talk about it here? I don't remember.
Not much.
We mentioned it, I think.
I don't remember.
Kaya, do you know anything about this?
Not really.
Okay. Do you know who P. Diddy is?
I know he's a rapper, and I know he's getting called the Black Weinstein or something, or like the gay Weinstein, or the rap Weinstein, something like that.
I don't know.
A lot of names. I don't know. I haven't heard good things, if that's what you're asking, but I do not know anything. Don't sue me, Diddy.
So he's more so a producer, like a music producer, like a giant label producer. So he is kind of like a Weinstein of the music industry in that sense, that he's like got all that kind of power. He's not just an artist. But yeah, he's a figure that apparently for the last 20 to 30 years has, and I'm not going to use the word allegedly anymore because there is undeniable video evidence, video proof that this is an actual thing that happened. He is someone who is just very abusive towards women, very scary individual, and he has been abusing women for the last 30 years in the industry.
Not just women. It's also important to make it clear it's not just women. He did this to men as well. There's a lot of evidence around that too. Yeah, it's significantly more than just women. He did this to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So he just indiscriminately molested people for record deals,
and he beat women a lot. But yeah, he did all kinds of heinous shit to both men and women, and actively does. It's not past tense.
Yeah,
he still does.
Yep. As recent as like 2016, which for all intents and purpose probably means that he still does to this very day. And there's stories of, abuse that he's still been doing in modern times. But yeah, he's been doing this for like 30 years. Very active, very long history of abuse from him. And so this kind of like, there's been stories going around for like the last maybe 10 or 5 years, like allegations about it. One of his ex-girlfriends and another, big name in the music industry alleged that he beat her a lot, and they'd been together for like 20 years, and that was going through the court process. And then more allegations came out from other people, and people were kind of people like believed the allegations, obviously, but we were all kind of waiting for proof or for it to go through the court system. But that all changed this last week when undeniable video evidence of P. Diddy beating the shit out of this poor woman was publicly, made available. It's him running down a hotel, what do you call it? Like a hotel hallway, chasing after this woman in his like bath towel, like a shower towel. He was running down the hallway, catches up to her, grabs her by the back of the head, throws on the floor, and beats the absolute shit out of her. All captured on video, and obviously undeniably him. What blows my mind is this was made private by the hotel, company or the hotel manager or whatever. It was made private by them. This happened back in 2016, so P. Diddy paid them a lot of money to like sweep it under the rug, basically, and they did. So that's I don't know how you can fucking see video evidence of abuse like that and then be like, yeah, okay, I'll take some hush money from the abuser and keep it all quiet. They deserve to be held liable.
How much money are we talking?
I think one of the most damning parts of this whole thing, and it's completely subjective, depends on how you view it, but in my mind, the fact that he's completely naked except for a bath towel and he's still beating her ass, it's like he didn't even wait to get dressed to beat her ass. Right out of the shower, he just had to go beat some ass. Like, that's how determined to abusing women this guy is.
That's not determined. This is... I recognize, I'm watching the video now, I recognize this waddle where he's holding his tail. This is like Immortan Joe when he realizes his harem just got kidnapped. Yeah. And he's like, wait, what the fuck? You can tell that this woman was waiting for him to like take a shit or shave or shower, anything. Like a 10-second
wait till he's vulnerable,
she could run. And I guess he heard. Maybe he has like a sixth sense of women running away from him, but he jumped out of the shower very clearly and chases her down like a horror movie villain. And then he does catch her at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a colossal piece of shit. He's a fucking monster. So, I don't know if it's confirmed what Jackson was saying, that the hotel was paid to keep this under wraps.
How else would it...
Because I've seen a bunch of different things. Because she engaged in a lawsuit with him, so that would have been taken for evidence as opposed to being like leaked to the public at the time. It would have been part of like the lawsuit, I think, so it wouldn't be public. I'm not sure, but that is a theory that P. Diddy paid the hotel a lot of money to bury it. And I don't know. I still haven't figured out exactly how it leaked or where it leaked from yesterday, but it is horrifying shit.
Yeah. Didn't they find this? I'm reading that they found this at his compounds that they raided.
Oh, maybe that's where it came from.
Well, no, unless
maybe the hotel just sold it.
Unless CNN raided his compound along with the police, it's from what I read, the video was given to CNN by someone to leak.
Oh yeah, by the police.
So,
could be someone that was there.
Why would the police do that? Why would the police?
They do that all the time.
What do you mean? Okay.
Yeah. What?
What the fuck does that mean? Your officer dick in hands. Jackson, if you're a detective, this is like falling into a pot of gold. The first thing I would do is call TMZ and be like, "You guys will not believe what Diddy did."
Okay, an individual police officer is what you mean? I thought you meant like the police organization.
It'd be an individual.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they held a bake sale for all of Diddy's beating videos.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be an officer. Anyone who works with the police department or alongside that investigation could have been someone who worked at the hotel and was involved in the investigation and went, "Oh, I have my phone and there's the recording. I think I'll just take that, send it to CNN."
What do they call those police things where they sell off all the seized assets to just random people?
Police auction.
Maybe it was in one of those. Yeah, police auction. Maybe it was in one of those. They just auctioned it off. It's like Diddy's tapes. It's on VHS and shit.
The Diddy tapes.
Yeah.
Do we have an update on him? Isn't he fleeing the country right now?
So he was tipped off that his compound was about to be raided. So when that happened, he fled.
Right.
I don't think he's still on the run right now, but he did flee and most likely took a lot of evidence with him from the compound.
Why would you keep that evidence in the first place? So let's say you beat a woman. Hypothetically.
Wait. Just to get this on top. It's a prevailing theory that when P. Diddy would host these parties, he would gather as much blackmail against the people that went as possible to have more power over them. So he had kind of like what Epstein did with like keeping track of who did the trips. P. Diddy most likely did something similar where he would continue to compile all of these horrible things to have dirt on the celebrities that visited him. So he would have
dirt against himself.
Well, this one definitely.
Why was he blackmailing himself?
Trust nobody, not even yourself.
Yeah, he's not above his own code, Jackson. He plays by his own rules.
Why was he compiling evidence against himself?
Yeah.
That's the only way Diddy will redeem himself if he somehow, he somehow puts himself away.
He's like, all right. I've been conducting a 30-year investigation on myself, and now I'm finally going to turn it all over.
He did it to challenge himself, like Pickle Rick. He just wanted to see how he can get out of an international manhunt. You can do it, Diddy. Diddy Rick. So is he in custody?
What does that have to do with Pickle Rick?
I don't know the Pickle Rick.
What's the connection there with Pickle Rick? I don't get the reference.
I did this to challenge myself. Isn't that what he says in that episode? I could be wrong. Maybe it's a bad
I
joke,
guess.
So what happened to Diddy? Where's he now?
He is, I think he's in Cancun right now. I'm not sure. He's on a vacation.
He's just holidaying.
Oh, so he did flee.
Oh yeah, no, he fled ages ago.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's like technically on the run per se.
No, but this video that released, the video of him beating up the woman, was so undeniable that he just came out and he's like, yeah, sorry about that. Like he obviously there was nothing else he could say. He's like, yeah, I take full responsibility. I beat that woman up. And that was it. Like usually I don't know, I guess I was assuming that he just would try to like sweep it under the rug, ignore it, and hope that it goes away. Or maybe have his lawyers come out and you know, threaten people for sharing it, or say that it wasn't him, anything like that. But he just came out and was like, yep, that's me. Did.
Yep. He's a bad guy. He's a very bad guy. Also, I always like to shout this out. Anytime anything happens with P. Diddy, 50 Cent's one of the first people to comment on it. So in light of the apology video, he just said it was dog shit, basically saying it was a bad move. And right before that, P. Diddy was trying to like Instagram post his way through the controversy. So it was a picture of him riding a bike, and 50 Cent commented underneath that saying, "We all know that bike doesn't have a seat." It had me giggling so hard.
Oh, I love 50 Cent. So my favorite thing to do in these times of trouble, in these times of distressing things, is you take a celebrity and you go on their Instagram. So P. Diddy has 20 million Instagram followers. And what I always love doing is seeing the most delusional and loserous leech fucking dick-sucking people there is, because you read the comments on their posts. And I'm reading P. Diddy's comments on his apology right now on Instagram. One of them is, "Nobody's perfect." Another is,
oh god, that one makes me so mad all the time.
Another one is like, "Oh, God has blessed you and you can still turn this around." And it's like, oh, like, of course people do call him out like, "Oh, this is bullshit. You don't really mean it. You're not sorry." But so many people are saying things like, "Oh, it's okay, Diddy. You've seen the light for your bad actions and everything will be fine." It's like, good God. You know, call it for what it is. The man is caught on camera fucking beating a woman on the ground while in a bath towel. Like, what the fuck? Come on.
He made good
domestic
music.
Abusers get
they
get a lot of slack, especially from women like Chris Brown. You guys remember
Chris
Brown?
I will never drop the Chris Brown angle. The man has 200 million followers on Instagram and growing, and not a single one ever brings up the Rihanna beating or any of his other bullshit ever.
That's super not true. They just move on. Yeah, they just say move on.
I don't know. I saw people talking about his new album release.
I remember back then almost the consensus was, yeah, I'd let him beat me. What a daddy, yeah. I mean, if he beat you, you maybe deserve that skull emoji. People were fucking fangirling over that guy. I'm sure P. Diddy has his fans too.
Oh, they are.
So I actually talked about this on stream like maybe 2 weeks ago, probably less. And like the clip of me talking about it's on YouTube. Chris Brown fans flooded the comment section of that video to say like, "This guy is just a Chris Brown hater. This is fucking ridiculous. This is what, a decade ago? Get over it." Everyone else has got like so many comments of people who went like, these are not people that would normally watch any of my shit. They go out of their way to find things to defend Chris Brown on. It's unhinged lunacy.
Yeah.
Is it predominantly women or is it predominantly men?
It's predominantly women.
It's predominantly
women.
I'm on there right now. He's got 145 million, and all of his recent posts, all the comments are, "Oh, please come to my city. Oh, I can't wait to see you here. Oh, are you ever doing this?" It's just nothing but that over and over and over and over again.
If you are a woman, you should not be asking for Chris Brown to come to your city.
Exactly.
That is dangerous.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's always wildly baffled me. Like, I don't understand how women can see that and be like, that shit's cool. That's all right with me.
Comment. He's announcing a music video called Go Girlfriend. Top comment on it is, how can you not love this man? I have a few reasons.
Fair question.
Yeah. Oh,
who else
man.
but Chris Brown?
Funny.
I don't know what it is about Instagram, because like Twitter and other places are pretty quick to call this shit out. Like, wow, what a piece of shit. Like P. Diddy was trending on Twitter and everyone was like, oh my God, he's running from the law. What a scumbag. Look at all this terrible stuff. But Instagram is where all the dark cave-dwelling fanboys and girls reside and just go to war for their celebrity of choice. They will die for them no matter what it is on Instagram.
I don't check Instagram like that. I don't even know how to find things on Instagram, really.
Neither do
it's just
I can't figure it out.
I just search their name and then the word Instagram
page
on Google, and it's the first thing that comes up.
Regardless, though, I think like it's the same. I think there are like people like that on Twitter as well. It's like Twitter's both extremes. You've got the people that just rampantly defend inexcusable people.
Oh yeah,
but then you've also got the other side as well. It's just
that is true, but if you check like the trending tags, it's usually the majority opinion. Like when it's political stuff on trending tags, usually they flood it with the majority opinion for stuff. But Instagram, it's like nothing but support. Almost nobody is calling them out for the shit they do. Oh man.
No, it's like all music stars are like that. Like, can you name a music star that's been held accountable for the bad things they've done? Like a mainstream music star. I feel like it's always just swept under the rug, basically. And then you've got like passionate fans that'll just run defense for you.
No, you're right about that. Musicians, for some reason, do get leeway.
They do, but I will name one that nobody in the entire world will ever defend. I still think he is the most evil man to ever enter the music industry. His name is Ian Watkins. He was the lead singer of my favorite band when I was growing up, Lost Prophets.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. In 2012, it was found out that he had years worth of like raping kids. He even like had some of his fans present their children to him so he could rape them. He'd have their the mothers. He'd have the mothers take their kids onto like a live stream and molest the kids in front of him. He even tried to rape a actual baby once. Like he's one of the most evil people to ever be in the music industry. And everyone, when they found that out, was beyond disgusted. So
what do you mean tried? Was the baby like an undercover officer? How did it get away?
It's really fucking gross, man. Like he wasn't able to. Like he physically wasn't able to, but he tried to.
Yuck.
That's distressing. Jesus.
Yeah, no, it is a horrifying case. That guy is an beyond evil person.
Does he have an Instagram though?
Yeah, can we read?
He has a verified Twitter account.
I bet there are still people defending him. If he's a musician, I bet there's people like, yeah, but his music's good.
You might be right. I think he actually got married in prison.
What kind of music did he make? What kind of like metal, right? What kind?
Yeah, like old alternate metal.
Oh, there's 100% some women out there that are part of that scene and go, he's fucked up just like me. He's damaged like I am. Like those girls who listen to like emo and those kind of bands because they, are in that phase of their life. You know what I'm saying? You know that type?
It's not even musicians. There's always the meme of like women who like stand outside of federal prisons like and fangirl over like convicted serial killers and shit like that. It's like,
yeah,
man, I would think that this is like one step too far.
So I
like
did
this guy, but
I did a video kind of related on this topic of the whole idea of we forgive some celebrities and we don't forgive others for what they did. For example, Chris Brown, his whole audience is completely forgotten about Rihanna. J.K. Rowling is one where it was like split 50-50, where half the people were like, oh yeah, she's anti-trans and all these terrible beliefs, burn her books, fucking lynch her. And then the other half said, I don't care. I like Harry Potter. I want to play my Harry Potter game. I really don't care. It's always interesting how people choose to go one way or the other. The main example I used is Mike Tyson, where back in the day, during the height of his boxing career, height of it, like the biggest name in boxing, heavyweight champion, everything, he got convicted of rape and all sorts of other charges. Now, in this day and age, there's new evidence and there's lots of debate. It's not clear what happened and what he has and has not admitted to. That's all still under trial and debates and this and that. But during the time where people thought he was a rapist and a thug and just a really bad person, he was still allowed to box. He was still made heavyweight champion. He was still allowed to do it. And when he did go to jail for a few years, as soon as he was released, he was put right back into boxing, right into the top heavyweight divisions. And it's like, why would you let that guy who you think is this terrible criminal with charges against him compete in that sport? And the only reason anyone had is, well, he's a really good boxer. I want to watch him box. You
want to hear another one? This one is still to this day, and it makes me furious. Karl Malone.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, one of basketball's greats. He impregnated a 13-year-old. He has a well-documented, like overwhelming evidence about being a pedophile. And he is a celebrated basketball star to this day that still does official appearances for the NBA from what I've seen. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, Jerry Seinfeld is another one.
I was going to say Jerry Seinfeld.
Wait, Jackson even brought that one up. Yeah.
When he was he 38? I think he had a 17-year-old girlfriend. Yeah, Jackson, you did talk about that before. That's another one where it's like, okay, what the fuck?
That was like in the 90s, maybe, I think, or maybe the 80s.
Yeah.
And even back then, people were just like, yeah, that's fine. Jerry Seinfeld's cool. He tells good jokes. He's funny. Yeah.
Do you remember how I talked on a previous episode about Dave Mustaine, the leader of Megadeth, and how there's that whole shit with him falling out? There's still a cult to this day of people who hate that guy's guts, and the only reason is because he had a beef with Metallica. And it's like, I looked into it, and yeah, he got into some fights, but he hasn't really done anything since the mid-90s that would be considered bad, except for controversial political opinions. But people to this day will still say he's like the worst human being on the planet and just viscerally hate them. So it can go the other way, you know? It can go both ways where public opinion just decides shit.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that you probably get more shit having like incorrect political opinions like from these guys as opposed to beating women and like getting children pregnant for some reason. Like you'll probably get your basketball career, canceled quicker if you like espouse like dumb shit online as opposed to Karl Malone.
Yeah,
you're so fucking right. You actually just reminded me. Think of all the women beaters in the NFL, like actively like convicted. They beat their spouse type shit. There's actually a significant number over the last like 20 years, and they don't face any like repercussions from the NFL.
Because people like football. People want to watch football. Entertainment will always outweigh principles every single time. Makes too much money. It's too popular.
Didn't they try to blame that on concussions for a while?
See, the beating women?
Yeah, the like schizophrenic just beating all the women in their lives. Didn't the leagues try to blame that on concussions at some point? It's like, yeah, they're all fucking brain damaged. What can you do?
I don't remember.
I could see the connection. Like if you have CTE, maybe you have lower impulse control. I suppose that would make sense.
Well, but that's a great defense, because the NFL then has to go, hey, our sport that causes incredible head trauma, it's also causing them to beat women. Oh well, nothing we can do about it.
Sounds like a new sport to me.
Real quick, real quick. We're just a big thank you to the sponsors. Over to them.
Hi, everyone. Are you tired? Are you sitting down on a couch right now? Or, sitting somewhere else? Well, that's probably because you're not fit. I'm just going by statistics. The American people statistically are not in super good shape. If you are in good shape, well, listen to this ad anyway. You'll probably appreciate it. If you want to change that, you can get Fitbod. Fitbod is a workout fitness app that will customize every single piece of your workout routine to work for your goals. You can change how often you work out, where you work out, what equipment you've got, what workouts you do. It's amazing. All the official boys have tried Fitbod. I know I personally use it because my favorite thing about Fitbod is that you can swap out one workout for another. So let's say you go to the gym and you're like, ooh, my shoulders. Oh, God, my shoulders hurt. And you look at Fitbod and it says, hey, why don't you do the shoulder press? You can be like, oh, no. And you just swap it for many other different workouts that will be convenient for you. They've also got over 1,000 demonstration videos. It is cheaper than hiring a personal trainer. It will track your muscle recovery to help you avoid burnout. It does everything you could possibly imagine in terms of getting your fitness together. If you want to add Fitbod to your workout essentials, join Fitbod today to get your personalized workout plan. Get 25% off your subscription or try the app for free at fitbod.me/official. That's fitbod.me/official.
Thank you very much for listening to the sponsors of this episode. Kaya wants to say something very special now.
I wanted to bring it back to Ian Watkins real quick, Charlie, because you left out that he's a massive prison bitch now. Did you read the updates on his Wikipedia?
Yeah, he got stabbed a lot.
Well, before that, apparently he was forced to smuggle a phone into the prison in his butthole, and he was caught. And the guards asked him, where the fuck did you get the phone? And he said, well, my cellmates forced me to have it in order to farm my female fans. So apparently he's still getting calls from Lost Prophet fans
fucking good.
on his prison wallet phone that he got caught using. And apparently he said that his cellmates were trying to use the women writing in as a, quote, revenue stream. And then, yes, he also afterwards, last year actually, in August, not even a year ago, he got taken hostage by his cellmates and stabbed.
Prison justice.
Having a good time in prison.
Yeah, which is crazy though is he survived the stabbing, just like
he did. Yeah.
Who was the other pedophile that got stabbed like actually 30 times in jail last year? Who was that again?
The
gymnast guy. No, what? No, the gymnast guy.
Oh,
that abused
Larry
like 500.
Nassar Larry or something?
Yeah. Larry Nassar.
Yeah. The ultra pedophile. He was.
Yeah, they're tanky.
They get stabbed all the fucking time, but they always survive. This guy got stabbed like 30 fucking times in the neck, and he survived. I really think it's like something from God. He's like, no, you're not getting out of this easily. Like, just forcing them to survive these stabbings. It's crazy.
Or maybe pedophilia makes you immortal.
No.
Oh. Don't ever suggest that again, for the love of God.
Don't try it at home.
We have an impressionable audience, and I never want to hear that come out of your mouth again.
Listen to this. On July 9th, 2023, Nassar was stabbed 10 times in prison. It was motivated by lewd remarks Nassar made while watching the 2023 Wimbledon Championship. He was stabbed twice in the neck, twice in the back, 6 times in the chest that culminated in a pneumothorax, and 4 other inmates witnessing the scene pulled the assailant off Nassar, and correctional officers at the facility performed the life-saving measures.
Who the fuck?
Stabbed?
Other inmates pulled off the stabber? Why? Why are they simping for a pedophile?
I have no fucking clue.
Well, if you kill him, you can't keep stabbing him in the future, so you gotta like have some restraint.
That's true. Well, they need a punching bag.
They probably didn't want to be further sentenced or punished, probably, is what I would guess.
Also, keep in mind, like, when news articles say stabbed, they don't mean with, like, they don't have machetes in prison, so it's like a molten down toothpick or something that they stabbed them with.
It could be very shallow stab wounds. Yeah.
I guess, but even still, there's very few places in the neck that you can get stabbed and not face some kind of big issue, I would think.
So you're totally right about the neck, but I read a EMT report on certain medical anomalies and injuries a while back. And the thing with stabbings is if the blade is not serrated or it's like just a normal blade, you can actually get stabbed a bunch and be okay because the wounds are usually, you can enjoy it and scream wee. But no, it's because just the way they leave wounds, it doesn't do as much damage as you would think compared to, for example, a bullet where it just tears everything up along its path.
Or it bounces around inside.
Or it bounces around, right.
Yeah.
And the example they cited was there was a cartel member in Mexico where a rival gang took a machete to his head, big fucking long blade, and just hacked into his fucking skull. But because the blade was clean and straight, it just went in and out and left horrible cuts, but he was largely fine. It was just blood loss, you know?
Well, blood loss is
fucked.
crazy. That's what kills usually is blood loss.
It can. Yeah.
If you fuck up a murder with a machete, it's like you get fired from my cartel. How do you mess that up?
Yeah, you can't use the prison defense there. That was probably like a legitimate, machete.
Well, by that point, buy a gun and
created
shoot
from,
him,
like,
Why are you
prison
using
utensils.
a machete if you're in the cartel? You have fucking AK-47s,
Well, it's the more personal
Yeah,
touch,
for
I
real.
think.
Yeah.
That's true. It's more cinematic. You have to keep in mind the camera.
Have you got? It's a rising trend I'm noticing. I'm seeing a lot of videos come out of like machete attacks in streets, like people fighting with like swords and shit. I feel like we're going back to medieval times.
I noticed that Twitter or X now is just straight up life leak. I see so many fucking videos that just basically World Star. You used to have to go to World Star to see people fight. Now it's like every other video is like 20 people ganging up on some high school kid and beating the shit out of him and curb stomping him. Twitter got fucking wild. They need to get that under control.
Yeah, I mean,
it did.
that's always been the internet, but now it's like just common, like it's very commonly out there on just like the public kind of platforms. You like you said, usually you had to go like /watch people die or live leak, or they were kind of relegated to those kinds of areas. Now you can just open up X and you'll randomly come across like a guy hacking into people with a machete on the streets or whatever, and it's like, I wonder how much this is desensitizing like everyone, really, if it's just like actively shown to everyone. Yeah, that's the one I saw. Someone in chat just posted New York Post. Wild caught on camera machete fight ends with a man calmly picking up his severed hand off the floor and walking off. It was just a full-on fight. His hand came completely off, and then he just picks it up and leaves
and walks away. He looks very like he dusts it off a little bit too. He picks up his hand and he like wipes it on his shirt real quick, and then walks away like, "Well, I never."
5-second rule.
I wonder. Oh man, I'm curious about the pain level there. Surely you don't feel it because of all the adrenaline from the fight. Well, yeah, but eventually, like, when does it kick in? Like, you're sitting down waiting for your bus after that, and you're like, "Fuck, it's starting to hurt." Like, how long does it take? When does the adrenaline wear off?
Well, he probably passed out from blood loss pretty quick. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Surely, like, cutting off your hand, that's like a massive amount of blood loss. Why didn't he just like keel over immediately? I don't know.
Well, that would, you've got veterans in wars and other things who get limbs blown off and they live to tell the tale, even though they're not immediately sent to the hospital. You can probably go a fair bit of time with a limb blown off and still be alive, especially if you maybe tourniqueted or something.
That's kind of like my point, though. Like, I don't understand why you can get stabbed a whole bunch and then you obviously like bleed out very quickly and die. I've seen that kind of stuff, but hacking off a limb apparently doesn't have the same effect. Like, there's enough time there to like, solve the issue basically and still survive. It doesn't make sense to me.
I think I don't know. You just get unlucky. Like, if you take let's say a knife blow to the jugular and you just cut that thing open, like, you're going to bleed out super quick because that's just a major, huge vein. Meanwhile, I don't know, you get your hand cut off, maybe there's not that much important stuff all the way down there in your body.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, there's arteries still. All I know is from movies is when you get your hands or legs cut off, you seek a hot pipe, like a hot steaming pipe.
And you cauterize it.
Yeah, cauterize
and you coagulate the wound.
Yeah.
That always looks the most painful to me. Even maybe more so than chopping your hand off.
Yeah.
Does that even work in real life? Just like burning your nub?
Yeah, haven't you seen Star Wars? The lightsaber immediately cauterizes it.
Yeah, it immediately does that shit automatically.
It's less violent that way. Kids can watch decapitations. It's cool.
I guess that makes sense, but in universe, why would you like first aid your enemy as you're chopping him up?
Well,
That
it's
doesn't
not
make any
intended.
sense.
It's just the lightsaber is so hot that it does it automatically. It's not like it was an intended effect.
So use a regular saber then. That's fucking dumb.
But it's in space, Kaya.
Just use metal.
Metal's so fucking cringe, brother. We need the Kyber crystals in order to do it.
Yeah.
Much better.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
What I never understood about lightsabers personally is like the height restriction. Like, there's always a uniformity in how long the lightsaber is. Why not just make it like a super long lightsaber that's basically like a gun?
Stupid
Like, you turn it on pointing at someone.
motherfucker. Does anyone want to tell him?
Like a laser lance.
Does anyone want to tell Jackson? I'll do it. The newest Star Wars show trailer shows off a lightsaber whip. You fucking moron. How could
There's
you
another
not know that info?
What does that even look like?
Yeah, it looks like a whip, but it's a lightsaber.
You not keeping up with Star Wars these days, huh, Jackson?
Nope. What does it look like? Is it
Makes
just
sense.
like a flaccid lightsaber?
It looks like a whip.
whip.
Yeah, it looks like a whip, but it's a lightsaber. That's it.
It's purple
Probably
though.
just looks like the. Didn't they already do that in Iron Man 2 with the whip guy?
Electro
Yeah,
it's like
Omega
cutting
Red.
shit in
Yeah.
half. It's fucking dumb. How
That
many
is-
more movies
Hey,
are they gonna make?
Since
it
I
is.
brought up Star Wars, I want to ask Jackson, have you ever heard of God, what's the technique called? It's the one where you turn the lightsaber on and off. Do you know that one?
Rebooting it?
No, that doesn't
No,
sound
no, it has a technique. It has a name in
Technical
universe.
difficulties.
Yeah, if your lightsaber's not functioning right, you just turn it off and on. It
Trickata.
works.
I found it. It's called Trickata. And this is such an OP move that a lot of people started to say, like, you know, if you just turn the lightsaber off and then back on in a split second, there's like really no defense against it. So apparently they came up with an explanation where the reason it's not used, the only time you see it is in Star Wars Visions. Yeah, the reason it's not used is because the Jedi find it dishonorable and the Sith find it cowardly.
Oh my god, I was right.
Yeah, that's the explicit explanation for why Trickata is not like a very dominant form of lightsaber fighting.
So why is it so powerful? Because like you can like put the lightsaber up to someone and then just turn it on, kind of thing, and they don't have any way of defending against that.
The big thing for me, and I had a whole argument about this on stream. It was probably like the nerdiest thing I've engaged in a while. But like, if you're in a clash, right, you're trying to hit the other person, but they block you. Well, what you can do is you can force them to either block or die. So they go to block you, but as you're about to make contact, you turn it off and then on, so it goes right through the block and just right into the opponent. Or if you do, you could also just do like a thrust when it's off, and they can't really block it when it turns on quickly because the lightsaber comes on too quick. So like it just instantly wins in most scenarios because you like both Jedi and Sith have crazy fucking reflexes. Like you would easily be able to do that quick enough, and it's just so fucking strong.
Yeah. We're now into the realm of nitpicking things that were never thought of by the writing team. The classic example is in The Last Jedi. The weird hair. What color is her hair? It's like purple or blue or whatever. That lady in The Last Jedi, the commander.
Oh, the hyperspeed.
She hyperspeed rams her ship into like a bunch of other enemy ships. And the question is, why have they not been doing that the entire series? Because it's an incredibly effective move.
The writers came out afterwards and were like, well, actually, she invented it in that moment, and it became known as the Holdo maneuver for the rest of Star Wars history. Like thousands and thousands, centuries, like millennia of years in Star Wars history.
Oh, fuck.
And no one had thought to do that.
So the problem is that fans take this shit like too seriously. So another great example is with Thanos. So Thanos comes out and he snaps and he's like, half the universe is now dead. You're welcome. I solved overpopulation and resource, whatever. And all the fans go, well, why doesn't he make more resources with the glove? And the writers come out and they say, well, Thanos is a bad man. He's short-sighted and he's evil and he's bad. And that's kind of as far as you can go, because it's like, okay, if Thanos made more resources, there's no movie. There's no story. Yeah, it's not the most clever or the most thought out, but it makes the plot. But then there's still people who are like, yeah, but why not? Thanos could have done this. It's like, calm down, man.
And they think they're so smart for figuring out
exactly
like that kind of plot.
Like Charlie, you
obvious.
pointing out Staccato is fine. It's a fun little argument of, they could just do this. Well, okay, the Jedi think it's cowardly, whatever. That's where it ends. But there's probably still people out there that are like, well, why not do it? I think it would make the story so much better if everyone was doing it. It's like, no, there's a reason they don't do it.
It definitely wouldn't.
No, it would ruin it.
The fights wouldn't exist.
Exactly.
But what's really sad is until you brought it up, I never thought about Thanos just snapping in more resources.
Oh yeah, I saw that everywhere when the movie.
That is the only thing people said. Really? When it came out, that was the argument was like, well, if he's the bad guy, he would have snapped everyone out of existence except like his crew. So he's not evil. The whole 2 movies set him up as like not really evil. He's an antagonist, but in his head, he's doing the right thing. But yeah, everybody said the same thing. It's like, well, that doesn't really make sense. Of course, there's so many plot holes. Like, why randomly snap people out of existence? So, Infinite Planets, there's got to be bound to be one where you just snapped out all the doctors and left all the prisoners alive for some fucking reason, all the shit that doesn't make sense.
I never understood this argument that he's not evil.
There's a million better ways he could have handled it if he was smart. He could have held up the glove and said, okay, that planet that's all rapists, it's gone now. Okay, that planet of blind and deaf bugs that no one's ever made contact with, that's gone too. Like, he has infinite power. He can do 1,000,001 better things. But the whole point of the movie and his characters, they set him up to go, I care about balance. I care about fairness. So it's going to be random 50-50. And that's the movie. That's the plot. But you have nerds on the internet who are like, well, no, Thanos should instead have done this. And the writers are terrible and stupid because they didn't see it. It's like, no, they did, but there's no movie if he does that. There's no point. There's no plot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, both things can be true.
Yeah, I guess I'm giving them too much credit. Yeah.
How is he not evil though? He still genocided half of the galaxy, even if that's like the
but it was
less
for a good
evil option.
cause.
Oh, he's a good guy at heart. Yeah, never mind.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you see how remorseful he was when he sat down with a very sad expression?
Yeah. He looked at that sunset and went, I truly have become Thanos. That was a great line to end the movie.
And then he played the ukulele.
Was he included in the initial 50-50, snapping?
I think he was.
He was.
Like, was his head on the chopping block initially? Like, if he snapped it, he just like faded away. Would he still have been happy?
I think they explicitly made that point that he himself was also in the 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, at least he's got
I
that
could be
going
misremembering though.
Yeah, see, that's another question you could ask. Well, what if he got blowed out by the thing? It's like, okay, then there's no Endgame movie. That's the
then they just immediately say undo and then snap.
Yeah.
Okay, see, Andrew, I agree with you, but like when you take suspension of disbelief that far, like where does it start being an excuse for the writers to just be lazy? Just like throw in a line to at least make it make sense. You can just, well, it just happens isn't good enough at some points. I get it's a stupid superhero movie for kids.
It's superhero.
And you're totally right. That's the key to good writing, where you make a plot that both suspends disbelief and feels logical and sensical. You could maybe, if you're a really, really good writer, come up with a reason for Thanos to do what he did and totally go, wow, I see why he would do that. But, when you're making a giant Marvel movie for kids, they don't really think that far,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No. Like with Star Wars, they didn't think far at all. They made each movie as it came out. Apparently, like they wrote it on the fucking set, basically, from what it sounds like. I cannot believe that Disney paid $1 billion for that piece of shit, that franchise, several $1 billion. Invested tons of money into making the movies, and they didn't have a clear outline or like story to tell over that trilogy. They basically just ad-libbed it. That's
how much did they make from it?
Irritated me the most. What do you mean? It doesn't matter. They probably would have made more if the movies were actually good.
Yeah, I think they definitely would have stood to make more if the movies were good.
That's a philosophy that Hollywood still doesn't understand, that people will pay to watch good movies. Look at so many A24 films that are low budget, but the stories are great, and they make so much goddamn money.
Why haven't movies adjusted the same way video games have, like, in terms of infinite growth? Why is there no movie microtransactions?
Whoa, you think video games have adjusted? What?
What do you mean? Yeah, of course they have. Like the monetization?
No, what? AAA studios are having this exact same problem right now with like overspending for these like 6-year-long development cycles of generic slop that everyone gives up on.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about these video game companies have adjusted in terms of how they're able to siphon money out of their audiences. Like microtransaction, like strategy wise. But movies have always just remained the same, kind of like you buy one ticket to go see a movie once. I'm saying, why don't they just start splitting that shit up? Like, you get it in 10-minute intervals, maybe. You start paying for microtransactions in your movies. They've never adjusted their actual, like, method of delivery. It's always just been tickets.
I mean, they kind of have, because now no movie is allowed to be a standalone anymore, Jackson. All of it has to be a franchise or a reboot or some, like, part 7 of some other franchise. And then every movie also has to come with a TV show now and all the other stuff. So they found a way to monetize it, I think. And to just make it more insufferable.
No property is allowed to stand on its own. It has to be twisted in every form. Star Trek is a great example, where you have this series that's very long running and it's consistent. Okay, original series, what is it? It's sci-fi moral dilemmas. Okay, Next Generation, what is it? Sci-fi moral dilemmas, Deep Space, etc., etc. But now, look at the Star Trek shows that are out. You have The Lower Decks, which is a fucking adult comedy cartoon based on people running around on Star Trek. And then you have Picard, which is a big, over-the-top gunfighting sci-fi action show starring a 90-year-old man. Like we've lost the plot, but it's just because Star Trek makes money. You know, they just got to keep doing
Everything has to be a franchise. Everything has to have spin-offs too now, which is, that annoys me. Everything has to be a fucking universe now, like the John Wick extended universe, where the movies, it's fun, but also, why are you introducing like 3 different characters that are all gonna have 3 different shows that I'm not gonna watch? This is fucking dumb. I remember going to see the animated Spider-Man movie. I forgot what it's called, the multiverse one. The second one that came out last year, I think. And I remember there was like 20 minutes left till the film ends. And I was thinking, sitting there, like, how are they going to wrap this up? And then they didn't. They just said to be continued. And I remember being so fucking annoyed. Like, asshole. Just, like, my wife just got off work at like 6 p.m. I just wanted to take her to a movie. I just want to have a nice sit-down, standalone 2-hour experience without, at the end, someone like basically telling me, hey, if you want to find out how this ends, you're going to have to pay us again. Like, that's how they monetize it, and it's really annoying. Just give me a self-contained story. I don't want to have to wait 2 years to find out what the fuck happens. It's so aggravating now.
Yeah.
To have to watch these fucking superhero movies.
And it is aggravating because you can absolutely have the best of both worlds, where it's like the classic heroic adventure movie where they have a wrap up and they go, you did it, you saved the day, you're the best, and everyone celebrates. And then right before the credits, you cut to like the villain's eyes opening, or like the pit that they fell into, their hand comes out. Like, that's all it takes. You have a cliffhanger, but you also have an ending, you know?
They still do that, but like to what Kai is saying about the Spider-Verse, like I don't really have a problem with that. It's no different than like a television show, like having a second season. Like it leaves you ready for the next season. Now you have to come back and watch to continue it. It's the same thing.
I agree, but it's not a TV show. I didn't go to see a TV show. Someone said it had announced a sequel to. Fair enough. I didn't know that, but I just want to go to a movie and see one movie. I don't want to. And it didn't even give you like a half, like a TV show at least gives you the season finale.
Yeah,
that movie didn't really feel like it gave you anything. It just, there's like a big fight hoopla, and then it just ends, and it says, "Fuck you, pay me another $20, bitch."
I feel like you can still have a continuate, like an entry in a film franchise that there's a continuation afterwards, but still have that standalone entry have a satisfying conclusion and a complete story within that movie itself. And it sounds like that's what Kaya was missing from that movie.
Yeah.
And it's also something that I think that's why early Marvel Universe movies did so well, is because they were still standalone stories usually that, like, you know, told a somewhat cohesive story, satisfying story within themselves, and then they jumped off from those movies and continued them in that universe as well. But they were still, it didn't feel like you were missing out on anything if you just hopped into like Iron Man 1 and watched that. You've still got a pretty complete story.
Iron Man 1 is a perfect example, because think how many people back when that first came out didn't bother staying for after the credits and felt like they watched a full, complete, excellent movie and went, oh, that was really good. And then they go, oh, wait, there's a bonus scene where Nick Fury shows up, and oh, that's cool. That's a fun little thing. Whereas now, look at Marvel movies that saw that idea and how it worked, but have twisted it into, boy, you better fucking stay for after the credits because there's a 6-minute-long short film introducing the next movie, and it's important, and it actually has details that you need to know for the next movie. It's like, this sucks. Just make a full movie. You know, don't put it at the end of a different movie. Put it at the beginning of the first movie.
People's dicks get hard for those after credit scenes, though.
Yeah.
Know? I mean, that was such a big thing during the first phase 1 or whatever they call it, leading up to Infinity Wars. That was such a phenomenon, but I don't know if it got old at this point. I don't know if people are tired or what.
I'm such a fucking loser. I leave immediately once the credits are on. I'm like, fuck this. We're beating the rush. Let's get out of here.
I do the same thing.
It's not being a loser. What are you talking
it's
about?
So much better to do that. You can just look it up later.
Yeah, look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, here's what you do. You leave, you rush to the parking lot, and then one of you drives and one of you is on Wikipedia reading the plot to the movie, and you just read the last sentence, it's always the same thing too. It's just, Thor shows up and picks up the hammer and turns to Nick Fury and says, let's go. It's like literally every fucking post-credits, always the same shit. Here's a new hero, go buy our new app, our workout app with Hulk's voice. fucking dumb.
The Marvel workout app, I forgot about that. It's so funny.
To go back to the Star Wars whip, though, how does it actually work? Is it just like, I'm just imagining like a flaccid lightsaber.
I saw 5 seconds of a trailer and went, oh, neat, and left. Like, I don't know.
God damn it.
You'll have to watch it and find out.
It's just to sell more merch, though. I hate that they just keep adding these random elements to this universe that are so stupid that have never somehow been brought up before in the entirety of Star Wars. It's a dumb gimmick. That's all they can do is gimmicks and references.
Well, the funny thing is also all these designs, you have to keep in mind the funny or maybe depressing thing is that every single time there's like a brainstorming session at Disney HQ and someone's coming up with like, what about a laser lance or a laser suit or a laser whip? There's probably like a dozen people in the room also who are gonna have to correct the person going, well, we're trying to sell toys here. We can't really have the Chinese print laser lances. That's a little too expensive. Let's go with the whip. We can just use like pool noodles or something. So every movie decision has to be filtered first through what is cheap to manufacture to sell to people for $800 at Disney World.
You eventually reach a point where the money is completely dominant over everything else. And Star Wars is without a doubt a franchise that's in that rough, where everything is a money decision.
I'm okay with them making money. I'm okay with them making decisions like that will generate them more money. The issue is when it feels so incredibly soulless, like it was just a money-making decision as opposed to something with artistic intent. And nothing in Star Wars feels like there was any level of artistic intent. Like whenever there's like something exciting or new happening in the Star Wars franchise or the Star Wars universe, it's always like, well, I can't get excited about this because it's clearly just intended for them to make money.
It's because there's too much money. And I think a very interesting microcosm that comes from Star Wars and Star Wars alone is because of this, hey, brand board executive production, people have fond nostalgia and rose-tinted glasses of the prequels. And they go, well, at least those had soul. At least those were like George Lucas's vision and direction. And at least they had this moment and this and that. But people forget those movies are awful. They are extremely boring most of the time. And when something does happen...
Do you not agree with that, though? Do you still not agree that they did have soul? Like, I genuinely do feel like they would...
I do, but it doesn't make them good movies. I do agree that they... So this is the argument that we had back when the Mario movie came out, and it was a question of what's a more interesting, striking piece, the 82 Mario Brothers live-action movie or the new one from Illumination. And it's like, yeah, the newer one is a much better movie, but there's something to that old one where it's like, this is fucking memorable and weird and would never happen again. And that's kind of where it is with the prequels. Like, that is never going to be the Star Wars we ever get again. You're never going to see something like that where it's just one director doing whatever the fuck they want. It's going to be a boardroom dictating each and every decision. And it makes people nostalgic for that, but at the same time, it also makes them forgive that those movies are bad and boring and really poorly written, you know?
I still prefer them. I still prefer them, though. Even if, like, they are bad. They absolutely have flaws. But I genuinely do prefer them over the new movies. The new movies just have this kind of depressing level of soullessness where it feels like I'm actually just watching the color gray for some reason. and it's like, what am I doing with my time? Whereas at least the prequel trilogy, I do have those kinds of fond memories, the kind of nostalgia, the cool moments and stuff that I enjoy, and I do enjoy the level of cheesiness in them as well. I know that doesn't make for a good movie. Like, I don't think they're good movies, but I still, I definitely get more enjoyment out of watching them than I would you would have to force me to watch the sequel trilogy.
And the sad fact is, Jackson, we once again are in this bubble of not representing the general public, because I have talked to people who watch, for example, Rogue One, one of the most forgettable movies I've ever seen in my life.
You're talking to one of them right now. Jackson likes Rogue One.
Yeah.
I do like Rogue One.
But I've talked to people who saw it and they were like, man, that action scene was so cool. Man, when they were fighting on the beach, that was so cool. Oh, when they brought out the walker, the AT-AT, it was amazing. And I'm like, yeah, but what about the plot? Like, they don't even remember what happened or any of the important beats.
That's Charlie's main argument as well. It's like, it's a bad movie if you don't remember the name of the character that you see at frame.
Yeah,
scene.
And I totally
30.
agree.
And I get the
completely agree with that.
Why are you saying that, Jackson? When I quiz you like that, it's literally main characters. Like,
no, I remember. I remember the main characters. I remember.
Okay, who's the main character at Rogue One?
Jyn Erso. I remember it.
Who's the yellow tiny alien with the big glasses?
There we go. See, that's what I mean.
That's the main character. What's her name?
Who? Wait, who are you talking about?
The tiny yellow alien in the new trilogy with big glasses who reads the future.
The new trilogy. We're talking about Rogue One, first of all. I don't
extend
it to the sequel trilogy, but I think her name was Maz Kanata, if I recall.
Maz Kanata.
Maz Kanata.
Maz Kanata.
I think so. Yeah. But see, Charlie, to your argument though, me remembering Jyn Erso's name doesn't suddenly make it a good movie. It's not.
No, but it makes a movie you remember.
Yeah, it makes it a well-written movie with good characters you remember.
No, because you can remember the plot, you can remember the feelings that you have, you can remember the general story without remembering some sci-fi name of a character.
Being memorable isn't a good thing. It's neutral.
That's also true, yeah.
I don't know. I just think it speaks to at least something there. Like the main. Do you remember the main villain at all?
Yeah, I do remember him. I remember his Australian accent. I don't remember the guy's name.
So you don't remember this? It's a huge actor. You don't remember who it was?
I remember it's Ben Mendelsohn. I don't. It was like.
Well, yeah.
Didn't he just go by like the director or something?
I don't remember what he went by, but it was Orson Krennic, and then his like second lieutenant or whatever.
Krennic,
the other bad guy is a massive actor.
I don't remember there being a secondary antagonist.
Well, okay, I guess maybe that's a little too much, but like I don't know. It had such a star-studded cast, and I remember nothing about it. Like Donnie Yin's in this movie. Do you remember who he plays?
Yeah, doesn't he play the blind monk, the Jedi monk, like the Jedi temple monk?
Like, do you remember his name or anything, or like any of his scenes besides the one where he sacrifices himself?
Does he even give his name? I don't remember him giving his name. But no, his entire part of the movie was obviously just to put like a human personification of the Force, like to give that whole Force storyline. I didn't feel anything from it. I don't really care about that.
I know, which is
element of the storyline.
Which sucks. It's such wasted potential because he's a great actor and so good.
Red Letter Media does a test on the Star Wars movies and other movies that's relevant to this. And it's describe the character of the movie without mentioning their appearance or their job. And if you can't, they're a bad character. So Jackson, why don't you go ahead and do that for Donnie Yen's character in Rogue One?
Wait, what is it? Describe his character.
Describe the character without mentioning their appearance or their job. So you can't say he's a blind monk. So tell me about his character beyond that.
Well, he's really passionate about the Force. He loves the Force. He wants to bring balance to the Force.
Is this a dating profile? Long walks on the Death Star.
Yeah, he loves the Force. You wouldn't believe how much. Is describing him as blind an appearance thing?
Yes, because that's immediately noticeable.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example.
Okay.
They counter it with Han Solo. When you look at Han Solo, there's not much to say about him. He's just an old white dude wearing a vest. But then you gather from the movies, he's a rogue. He doesn't play by the rules. He's a bit of a cocky guy. Those are personality traits. That's a character. But you don't gather that by just watching him be a smuggler. I can do that for Donnie Yen's
blind guy. I can do that for Donnie Yen's blind guy. He's a bit uppity about the Force because he really wants to bring balance to the Force. So he won't stop talking about the Force. He loves the Force. He's very passionate about the Force. And I think that really comes across in the cinema.
God, you just reminded me of how he dies.
Blind people.
Well, yeah, does him dying count as his job? Can I use that?
God, it's the worst. It's so stupid, man. That made me so mad.
Well,
he walks across a battle.
The whole idea is the Force was done with him at that point, and he could die.
Which is so fucking cringe, yeah. He walks across a battlefield like a fucking raving lunatic. He's like, I am one with the Force. The Force is one with me. Yeah. I am one with the Force. The Force is one with me.
It is memorable.
It's like fucking... Well, it's only memorable because it made me mad. It was like such a waste. It was so stupid. He amounted to nothing.
No, he didn't. He pressed the button that blew up something.
You're right. He saved it. Honestly, he was the whole reason the mission was a success.
So I remember him pressing a button or something, but I don't remember what the button did. So I guess it's not really important. I think it opened a door somewhere. That's what his death about. That's what the Force wanted from him. I will guide you on your path for 40 years to open a door somewhere on some planet, and then I'm done with you.
I am going to go ahead and say I think Rogue One is better than a lot of the Star Wars slop in recent times.
Mm-hmm. That's my point.
I definitely like it more than some of the shit that's come out since.
Yeah, Rogue One might be a little better, but as it goes on, shit gets way worse. I still think Last Jedi is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life.
After watching all the Star Wars movies, having a pretty broad perspective on them, Rogue One, I think, is definitely the best of the modern era Star Wars movies. Definitely.
That's really not saying a lot at all.
I disagree.
It's definitely a low bar.
It is saying something, though, because I actually think Solo takes that because it's just a generic sci-fi adventure with really no Star Wars substance to it, and it was fun.
Yeah, Solo is good. It's also up there.
I brought this up on a previous episode. I think we were talking about the new trilogy in general. Why don't they just make entirely new stories in this elaborate, incredible world? Well, no,
they do.
But why does everything nearly have to tie back in some way to, it was Luke Skywalker, it was Darth Vader's
that's what
thing.
Makes Andor so good. It doesn't. Yeah. Andor is an actual great show that does not do that.
Yeah.
That's the reason why people love it.
It took them how long to do that, though?
Andor is good because it's not. Andor is good because it's not even Star Wars. Really, it's just a good TV show. I've said that over and over again. But that's crazy, right? Because my point there is Star Wars, the phrase has just become synonymous with shit. So me saying it's not even Star Wars, what I basically mean is it's just good. It's just good television, which is not what you want your brand to be synonymous with. Is shit, which is crazy.
Yep. It's pretty fucking crazy.
God, I love Star Wars. It's so cool.
Me too. What else is happening? The Assassin's Creed Shadows got announced and people are very upset about that. Did you guys see that? Did you guys want to talk about it? I don't know. I think it's pretty dumb personally, but figured it's
I just don't like Assassin's Creed, so I really don't care. It seems like a pretty weak thing to be upset about, though. Who gives a fuck? It's not like the Assassin's Creed games are historically accurate to anything.
Are you gonna 100% it, Jackson?
Yeah, it's a mainline one, so I will. Plus, I'm like I said last week, I am actually excited about it, and I was brave enough to come out last week publicly, both on Twitter and on here, and say that Star Wars, Assassin's Creed Shadows, the Assassin's Creed franchise is one that I actually do enjoy. I enjoyed 100%ing those three. Those three large games, and I've narrowed it down though. It's not the gameplay because I do agree with you guys that the gameplay in those games is pretty weak. Especially when you're 100%ing it. It's very monotonous. It's the setting. I've always just loved the historical settings. They do a really good job at accurately, or as accurately as possible, kind of portraying those settings, which I guess is why people are upset about this one, Charlie, maybe, is because they feel like it's not historically accurate, even though the character that is the protagonist is a historical character. He is a historical samurai.
I just don't really give a fuck, to be honest. It's just Assassin's Creed slop.
I looked at Assassin's Creed trailer on YouTube because I wanted to see everyone hate on it, because I agree the games are garbage and the series should die. From what I have read, the complaints are the main character, he's a black guy, right, Jackson?
Yep.
And he is a real historical figure. He stood by the side of Oda Nobunaga during the big old samurai times in Japan. But there's a lot of arguments that he was never a samurai, like a real one. Like he never ascended in the Japanese system to become like combat trained and do anything they say he did in the game, I think is the problem people have with it.
Yeah, because he, and I guess we can now take from this that was all because he was part of the Assassin's Order, perhaps. he was
I don't know why people are bitching when I don't know why people are bitching when the second game features Leonardo da Vinci building a fucking giant spider tank. Like, what's the fucking point of historical accuracy by then?
I think the only thing I could see people saying is like, hey, why wouldn't you take this opportunity to make a Japanese lead? Which I guess that makes sense. Like,
there is. It's a dual protagonist system. There is a Japanese lead protagonist.
Oh, true.
A woman
That's true.
So there is.
But is she a woman?
I don't know. I don't really want to wade into this territory, but it does feel like most of it is just people who would never play Assassin's Creed anyway being upset about the fact that it's a game set in Japan and it's a black protagonist, which you can make your arguments about that, I guess, but like at the end of the day, I don't personally really care.
It's gonna be a bad game anyway.
Yeah, I'm just reading comments on the YouTube. I don't care either way. What I do care about, and I'm very passionate about this, Jackson, is how about instead of giving a shitty company who's rehashing a terrible product any of your money to encourage them to keep building it, you just buy Ghost of Tsushima, which is the same idea but good.
Yeah, I have room enough in my life for both. Plus, man, it's so hard to talk about this shit because I have to make all these fucking concessions. Like, yes, Assassin's Creed gameplay has not really evolved after, like over the last 8 years or so. It has in like really small ways, as any franchise does, but it is very like very similar gameplay. I have to make all those kinds of concessions, but at the end of the day, I still really enjoy it, and I still really enjoy the world and the setting and exploring these ancient settings to my heart's content. Like ancient Greece in Odyssey is like one of the most fun settings to explore in a video game, in my opinion, and they laid it out like really, really well. Like sailing around the Greek Mediterranean and going to all the islands and stuff and seeing all the little settlements, all acting in their different ways accurately to history, or at least as accurately as possible to history. Like they're so accurate. Like obviously the Leonardo DiCaprio thing, the Leonardo da Vinci thing was obviously like the story elements to these games that are all fictional, obviously, but they do a really good job at the setting and accurately portraying the setting in ancient context, like to the degree where they're able to make purely educational spin-offs from these games and put them at like schools and stuff to teach people about the history of these settings. Like they do a really good job at doing that.
You said do.
Yeah, multiple times. So that's what I enjoy. I really enjoy going through and seeing these ancient settings. And the gameplay is like, again, it's like Star Wars. It's like the color gray to me. Like I'm fine with it. I'll get through it for those highs that I get
with it.
I don't know.
Sounds so joyous.
Yeah. I guess I'll play this.
I must enjoy it to some degree. No, I don't. Andrew, if you don't like Assassin's Creed, I would not recommend you playing it.
No, I hate Assassin's Creed.
I'm not trying to advocate for it. I'm not advocating for it.
You went from I'm excited for it, I told you last week, to I'll get through it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's the difference.
You have Stockholm syndrome.
Maybe.
It's so fucking true.
Well, it's because I know you're all haters.
I can't wait.
I know you're all haters, and I don't want to advocate for something that you guys obviously just hate.
I'm gonna try it. I always give it a try. Like I'm always willing to like be like, oh, finally a good Assassin's Creed. But like Mirage, for example, that game got a ton of hype, a ton of praise. I played like 3-4 hours of it. Man, I fucking hated it. It's so boring. You also skipped that one because you thought it was so boring.
Well, I didn't.
Jackson, I'm going to give you a recommendation. I'm going to give you an actual game recommendation. If you want to play historical Japan and it's about as historically accurate as Assassin's Creed is going to be. Maybe not the actual world, but like the history of what happened. Just play Yakuza Ishin. Just play the fucking Like a Dragon spinoff that takes place in feudal Japan. Yeah, the locations are not going to be perfect, but the story is like, this is an actual historical thing that happened in Japan. These were real people. Why not? The gameplay's good. It's a good game.
Overblown in the Yakuza, over the top in the Yakuza way. Definitely a very good game, but also Assassin's Creed does setting better. It just does straight up, like it does the open world kind of portrayal of Japan.
It sounds to me like you would have more fun just putting on a VR headset and taking one of those virtual tours of a city.
I've thought about that. I've thought
like a 360 YouTube video.
Yeah, one of those.
I don't know how to explain it. But it's something different with Assassin's Creed. They do a really good job with that, in my opinion.
Would you play it if there was no gameplay and it was just a camera that you can fly in 3D space?
Probably not, no.
See, that's so confusing to me because
you do like the gameplay.
You get this world and immersion, but then 90% of the game is people going, oh, you need to do the Shadow Covenant pact with the hidden blade triangle of this secret legion. It's like none of that is real or anything and has nothing to do with the setting.
Or we don't know if it's real or not. We weren't there.
True. It could be a conspiracy. Maybe Ubisoft knows what we don't.
No, it's like the gameplay guides me through the game, I guess, and takes me to the different settings. I have a reason for doing things, I guess, is what differentiates it from me just, flying a camera through the world. There's something hooking me to it. But fuck. Again, I get the criticisms of the gameplay. I do. It's like the combat isn't anything special. It's not anything wildly engaging or interesting. It doesn't change game to game really. But maybe that's why I like it. Maybe it's like a comfort thing. I don't know. I refuse to think about this in any more detail. I'm excited. You can't take it away from me. I want to play this game.
Oh yes, I can, Jackson.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
I still think we should do the 100% challenge.
I'm not.
So does everyone else.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Come
I'm
on.
not 100%ing an Assassin's Creed game.
All right. Okay. If we do that, I'll 100% race you through the Elden Ring DLC.
I don't care about the fucking race. That's not a privilege.
Come on, it'll be fun. You're always asking to do more things together. This could be our way of bonding. It could be a moment.
Yeah, I want to do more things like play fun games together, not 100% tedious chores like Assassin's Creed.
But you can say you did it.
I don't want to say I did it. It's embarrassing.
This is the lamest playdate. Hey, Charlie, you want to come over so we can write essays together?
Yeah. Charlie, you want to come help me stack rocks for 5 hours?
Jackson's the kind of guy who goes, Charlie, I challenge you to a race. And Charlie says, I don't want to do it. And Jackson goes, that means I win. Yay!
There's no winning here.
Tangent on that. Kaya, did you play Elden Ring? You did, right?
For a few hours, but I stopped. I'm no good at those games.
Because I know the DLC, when it hits, is going to be, the three of us are going to talk about it. I was curious if you were going to join in on as well.
I cannot wait.
I haven't even finished the first one.
Mm.
Oh, I'm doing a challenge at the moment. Another challenge, because I love video game challenges, apparently. I've challenged my girlfriend to finish... she's not a gamer. She doesn't play video games. I challenged her to finish the game, Elden Ring, before the end of the year, and I'll give her $1,000 if she does. So she is...
Oh my God.
Currently
and if she doesn't, you break up with her. That'll show her.
Yeah, that's the challenge. Ooh. So we'll see. We'll see if she is able to finish it. I'll keep you all posted. She made a character. She hasn't beaten any bosses yet. It's been a week. I'm feeling good about it. I don't get anything if I win. It's just I set a dumb challenge to see if she could do it.
Does she even like it, or does she need the money?
No, she doesn't need the money. It's not like that. It's I don't think she enjoys it either, but it's more just the challenge of it.
Sounds like it's the challenge for you.
Torturing her.
No, well, yeah, it's a little bit of torture, I guess, but it's more like bonding time. It's fun.
Well, why don't you do an Assassin's Creed challenge with her then? You can pay her to be your friend.
No, that's my time. That's me.
Okay, my bad.
If your girlfriend tried to sit there and watch you play the game, would you just tell her to fuck off?
I would say no. This is my time.
This is a man's game.
You wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't appreciate these worlds that I get to interact and live in.
Yeah.
Excuse me, milady. I'm going to feudal Japan if you don't mind. I'll be back later.
You can go work on your Elden Ring challenge while I enjoy samurais and shit. Samurais and assassins. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, when is Shadow of the Erd Tree out?
June 20th or something like that. So like a month.
Ooh.
You reckon it will be because FromSoft DLC is usually pretty good, right?
They have never missed on DLC. I love all of the FromSoft DLC. It's the only DLC I actually like.
Is it more of the game, or is it like an actual improvement on the game usually?
The actual improvements in the bosses they do in the DLC are so good.
It'd be pretty impossible for them to fuck it up, to be honest. They have all the pieces, just craft interesting locations and bosses, and you're done.
Yeah.
I think it would be a disappointment if it was just more Elden Ring, I guess. Like more of the same kind of like world. Not world, but like
I
more
would
of the same
disagree
kind of
with
bosses.
as massive as Elden Ring was. I still long for it. Like, I feel bad that I've already experienced all of it because I want more adventure.
No, I want more of the same like experiences that the original Elden Ring gave. I mean, like bosses with the same kind of, I don't know, behavior, same kind of gameplay to them. Like I got pretty sick of all the dungeon bosses eventually because a lot of them were just reused and didn't really change up anything too much. But the actual bosses themselves were usually pretty good. But yeah, I guess what I would want from the DLC is like something that gives me the same Elden Ring feeling, but with a new twist on it.
That was probably the only true criticism I had of Elden Ring, where the freedom had its drawbacks. So it was amazing because a sense of exploration, you can do this however you want, you find stuff, whatever. But sometimes it would lead to very unsatisfying payoffs. So, for example, I found a dungeon after, I think, like 80 hours. And it was like, oh my God, I didn't know this was here. I've never been in here. And I went through all of it, and I get to the boss, and it's a giant plant monster. And I have fought maybe 50 of them throughout the game already, so I just felt nothing. Like, it just felt like I wasted a few hours, you know?
Yeah.
So I see what you're
definitely
saying.
the issue with those little dungeons. There was a lot of reuse there. And the issue with that was, like, you go through all that effort and you fight the same boss the 10th time, and then you get a reward that's not even good for your build. Like, the reward didn't feel, like, too great at that point.
Yeah.
But it didn't really matter because the exploration itself was still so rewarding and so enjoyable.
It's a double-edged sword of having a truly open world. Sometimes it's a magical adventure, and other times the pacing is ruined by it. It's, you know, kind of dependent on what you do, where you go.
I would highly recommend people are angry at me in chat for daring to criticize Elden Ring, but I don't think it's a game that is like devoid of any room for criticism. If anyone wants to watch a video, I highly recommend a video by Joseph Anderson, who covered Elden Ring in like a 2-hour video essay. He was a big FromSoft fan, and he had a lot of like issues with Elden Ring. He said it was the best FromSoft game, but also the worst FromSoft game, which is interesting. And he had a lot of like points to point towards that. So I recommend checking that out if you want to see why some people might.
What was like one of his main hangups? I'm super curious.
What we just said, basically. Like there were a lot of like bosses where it was just reuse and it didn't feel too rewarding in that moment. I can't remember like a lot of the finer details, and I'm probably butchering his points, but I would recommend going and checking that video out. It was a very good video. You guys got anything else?
Nothing on my end.
I don't think so.
No.
Alrighty, that's gonna do it. That's this week's official podcast. Let us know your thoughts below. Patreon.com/theofficialpodcast for bonus episodes, bonus content. Right now, Criminally Stupid episode 14 on Austin Jones is still up there and exclusive. That'll be coming publicly this week to YouTube sometime after this episode airs. And then we've also got an episode going up this week on Patreon again, Criminally Stupid episode 15 on EDP. We're doing an episode on EDP, so you can head on over to patreon.com/theofficialpodcast to get that when it comes out exclusively on Patreon for a few weeks. Anything else from you guys? I think that's everything.
No, nothing on my end.
That is everything.
All right. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.